Welcome to my day one quick guide for Araxxor. This is currently the gear I am using. I've been using full Torva with a Scythe and Slayer Helm. Depending on your exact setup, you could replace this with your Infernal Cape and get rid of the ranging ammo. I was just using those for some earlier test kills. Inventory is looking something like this. You do need to make sure you have anti-venoms. Staminas are helpful because there is a ton of running depending on which location you're running to the lair from if you don't already have teleports. And some kills, depending on your RNG, you do have to run around the room a little bit more. Otherwise, I am using the D-Claws as my spec weapon and the Dragon Warhammer as my crush weapon. Obviously, if you do have something like the Inquisitor's Mace or a Bludgeon or a few other options are probably better, and any other spec weapon being like the Void Waker or some people are using Burning Claws, any of those options seem to be efficient enough for this day one method. If you don't already know where the Araxxor lair is, head over here to Mauritania, and it is directly in this Mauritania spider's nest, just a little bit north of the TOB teleport, or it's also a little bit south of the Port Phasmatis Bank. Now this is early day one, so I'm not going to by any means say these are the most efficient methods, but this video will give you plenty of insight on all of Araxxor's specials, and it can easily help you get some of your more consistent first kills. Now to kick things off, let's talk about Araxxor's specific mechanics itself. Araxxor has the ability to pick between 3 different variation of Venom specials, and it will only use one of those Venom specials for the entirety of any given fight. As you can see, he will throw a bunch of little green balls all up in the air at the same time, and all you have to do is run either a few steps north or a few steps south or east or west, depending on what side of Araxxor you're standing on. And that one's pretty much it. Successfully dodged. And you just continue, and that is the only special for that kill he will continue using. So as soon as you see any of those little green balls thrown in the air, just run a few steps in either direction to avoid them landing on top of you. Now for the next special, he will throw one singular Venom ball at you, and this is unavoidable, and as soon as you get hit by it, very similar to how Chambers of Xeric works when you get poisoned, it will just put a Venom hit splat directly under your feet. And with this one, you just have to turn your run energy off and walk about 5 or 6 tiles before it runs out. It lasts a few seconds, so if you do have your run energy on, you will be spreading Venom all over the floor in the area. And if you happen to stand directly on the area where you were hit or where there is Venom under your feet, you will get hit constant 4s and 5s. Now the third and final Venom special is the most difficult to see. For a brief second before he used the special, he moves over slightly just a tile or two to even out directly where he's looking. And right after that subtle change of direction, Araxxor will throw a massive Venom ball out that if you are anywhere within a tile radius, it'll hit you between a 15 to 20, leaving a straight line of Venom on the floor in its path, and ultimately crashing into one of the walls around the area and exploding Venom all over the ground there. Otherwise, when it comes to this special, Araxxor can only use it in 8 different directions. Any of the direct tiles directly north, south, east, or west, and then also the tiles directly adjacent diagonally. As you can see by the first one we showcased when I was talking about this special, he does use it on the diagonal tile. So the easiest way to know that this special is coming is just to not stand directly on one of those tiles when you're attacking the boss. Obviously easier said than done, but if you always stand on one of the opposite tiles that he's capable of using the special, you will always see Araxxor slightly rotate right before using it, giving you enough time to get out of the way. As for the basic attacks, you want to protect from melee if you are within range at all times. And there is also a secondary attack when you are outside of melee range that I have been protecting from Mage. It appears you can get hit by this attack through prayer no matter what, and this attack itself looks like a tiny green spiked ball. Otherwise, for the final mechanic not involving the little eggs and the Araxytes around the arena, as soon as you get Araxxor under 250 health or 25%, he will go into the Enraged phase. And there's also an animation that does trigger this phase of the fight. He will pull both of his legs in prior to starting, before doing a stomp attack, leaving some Venom spots on the ground, and dealing a ton of damage if you don't move around the room. The ideal and best way to take on this phase is just to attack, and then make your way in a circle around Araxxor, leaving a 1-tile gap between every single attack. If you are using something like the Scythe and not a 4-tick weapon, you will lose ticks occasionally. So every couple times you walk around, you will have to skip an attack to make sure you don't get stomped on. In terms of explanation, that is pretty much all there is. I will do a full kill walking and talking through everything at the end of this video. Otherwise, let's move on to the final part of this guide, and that is the Araxytes and the eggs around the room. There are 3 different colors of balls located around the arena, and these will always open in the exact same order, starting with the southeasternmost egg. The green eggs will hatch acidic spiders that do pretty consistent 3 to 4 damage when they do hatch, and upon killing them they do explode quite a few venom splats on the floor as well. The white eggs will hatch mirror Araxytes that reflect damage back to you when you attack them. If you do damage to the boss, roughly 25% of the damage you've done to the boss gets reflected back onto you and the Araxyte. Whereas if you just kill the Araxyte by itself, it'll do 50% of the damage back to you. But as you can see by some of the footage in the background, if you cast Vengeance as soon as you attack the Araxyte, it reflects all of the damage back so you don't have to take any of it yourself. Now for the third and final one, we have the red eggs, and these are the ones you don't want to affect at all whatsoever in the fight before they hatch, because they dramatically help you speed up your kill times. These spiders work very similar to some other monsters in the games, things like the little purple spawns from Lizardmen Shamans, where as soon as you get within a couple tiles of them, they will stop following you and implode on the exact tile. You want to let these spiders walk all the way up near you and then run away once they get within a couple tiles. If you don't get far enough away, you will get hit 28 to like 50 damage depending on how close you are, so you do want to make sure you run away. But exploding these things directly under Araxxor itself will deal the boss 80 damage. Another way you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone is you can use these spiders to blow up directly under Araxxor while also damaging one of the adjacent eggs that's going to hatch next. A couple other tidbits of information: if you do kill the spiders further away from you, like the mirror spider, the further away it does not reflect all of the damage back. And the crush weapon, which was the dragon warhammer I had in my inventory earlier. Another very common option is the elder maul, and using these to take out the green or white eggs right after they spawn, most of the time in one hit. The exact same applies for the dragon claws or whatever special weapon you use. You will want to prioritize using these on either the green or white eggs. Just pick and choose based on whatever is earlier in the rotation. But with that, I feel like that's all of the important mechanic info out of the way, so let's jump into a full step-by-step live kill. As I mentioned earlier, I am no way saying this is the most efficient way or the best gear to use for these kills, but at this point I'm about 40 or so kills in, and I'm having no problem with multiple kill trips using this gear and this setup. I'm already pre-potted, so let's go ahead and jump straight in. I'm already facing north, so we're going to prioritize this southeast egg. I'm going to protect for mage for the first attack, and I'm going to declaw this first white egg. I accidentally had rigor on. Flick that melee prayer back on. Now we know the red egg is going to spawn next, and I'm going to use that to take out this green egg over here. Make sure we run a few steps away. Oh, I actually didn't explode on it. So now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to deal with that green one spawning. Use my second claw spec on the white egg there. As you can tell, our first poison special went out, and it is the big glob one. Now right after this one spawn, I'm going to throw on the warhammer and smack it once. Go ahead and finish it off because it's only a couple HP. Move away from the poison special. You do want to watch out. I completely forgot while doing this commentary that the green ones do explode, leaving poison. Make sure directly after killing them you do move out of the way. I want to pull this guy a little further away. There's a 64 on the boss. A green egg is next in the rotation. But as soon as this hit goes through, I am going to spawn the final phase. And we're just going to skip one tile each time we run. And just continue around the boss. Should be the final hit here. Nope, we were delayed. I thought I was there, so I took an unnecessary hit. But there we go. There is a full Araxxor kill. Realistically, you can just leave some of these spawns alive, but they will do pretty consistent damage to you, making it far easier just to deal with them throughout the kill itself. I didn't get to showcase what I wanted to with the venging back on the mirror Araxyte, so let's go ahead and run back one more kill. We're going to spec out this green egg, so the white one should spawn first. And once that one spawns, we're going to throw on our Warhammer, attack back the Araxyte, and as soon as our XP drop showcases, we're going to cast the Vengeance spell. And as you can see, I did a 45 on him, and I didn't reflect back any of the damage to myself. Now the red one's going to spawn. I'm going to try to pull this guy down here, so I can take out this green egg when he does explode this time, like I was trying to last kill. But I didn't pull it off very successfully. This time I did. And if you did notice, it does have like 1 HP or anything under like 10%. He actually won't hatch regardless. So you don't actually have to kill it all the way. If it does get under roughly like 10%, it does just disappear like that right there. He pulled his front legs in, so now I know he's going to be doing the Enrage phase. And I'm just going to make my way all the way around in a circle. Be careful, the click box does get a little tricky sometimes with all of the legs. So you do want to try to avoid accidentally clicking on one of the ends of the legs and getting you stomped on. I've done that quite a few times. But with that, you should have no problem getting some of your early kills at Araxxor. If you don't have an option available like the Scythe, the Bludgeon, and the Elder Maul appear to be by far some of the best alternatives for a cheaper gear setup.